So I'm just going to read part of your bio.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I know it's long. I'm so sorry.
It's long. We'll do highlights. So Ace is an entrepreneur, coach, advocate, author, influencer, and speaker. As an intuitive strategist, Ace coaches healers, heart-centered entrepreneurs, influencers, and content creators by advising and motivating clients to make the appropriate changes necessary to move forward in business and personal endeavors with grounded spiritual insights and entrepreneurial advisory. From overcoming early age suicide, Ace advocates for mental health awareness alongside the Teen Prevention Suicide Society, understanding firsthand how the current cultural climate of despair affects adolescent youth. She believes the key to leaving suicide in the past is to empower lives gradually every year. She's also recognized as one of the most influential Filipino Americans in arts and entertainment by Jose Manuel de Gallo Romualdez, ambassador for the Republic of the Philippines. I'm sorry about the last name, to the United States. Ace also has a strong foundational aspects of PR, marketing, TV, film development, and ad sales with training from NBC Universal, Page Program, and other fellow alums, such as Regis Feldman, Michael Eisner, Don Nash, and Audrey Plaza. So yeah, those are some pretty amazing credentials. But what I love sometimes about connecting as entrepreneurs is we get in a space where we're like, oh my God, you're an amazing human being. I love your energy. And then you hear the credentials, which is kind of how it happened to us. We were in one of those environments I was speaking about earlier, where we're like, there's all these entrepreneurs and they say they're, enlightened, but they're not quite, they're not quite the right vibe. And we're sort of like the two souls finding each other, like, wait, we're kindred spirits. We're of the same vibration. And that's why I was so excited to invite you here, because we had that conversation about, oh, when I go to this event, I just don't feel like I'm connected. I'm like, well, let's create an event, right? Yeah, so welcome. So tell us a little bit about you before I get into some of my questions.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And I really appreciate you so much for putting me on this stage. I think, there's a lot that went through all of us during the pandemic, right? We were all going through our awakenings, we were going through our struggles, our setbacks, and our challenges. And to be honest, I was in like a totally different lane. Like I thought I was going to build a media studio, right? Then I started noticing something about it that I really didn't like. And it was something internal. I actually knew I was being called to heal. When I was in corporate politics, when I was working in entertainment, what I've noticed was I could tell when somebody was really in pain and I was able to support them. And that's what I really loved about it. Then I found out afterwards, it's not just the people that talk about it, it's also the people that are executives, politicians, high performers, people that are actually really fighting for a prosperous environment where everyone feels loved, everyone feels happy because they've gone through their own adversities. So I figured out that I could also support those in leadership positions. That way, it's like almost a trickle down effect, giving us that space to believe that we can have better tomorrow. That's one of my big reasons why I'm here. Another thing is, I am also a very fascinating intuitive healer in the sense that I have a background in candle healing and being able to refer you out to the right partners in our network, Marie, that can heal just as well as I can so that you can smoothly flow into the next transition of your life.
Absolutely. And I do love the fact that you do candle magic. It's amazing. I know it's something that it's been around for a long time. I know it's in a lot of different traditions, but what does your candle service look like?
So my candle service, the way it works is sit down with you, figure out where your pain points are, where you're struggling, and where you want to move forward. A lot of people don't know that they actually have black magic on them, or evil eye, or negative energies trying to pull them down. Candle magic helps to safeguard you against that and also help you through your own healing process so you're stronger and stable and you don't have to rely on the candles in the future, but have an amazing established foundation for yourself moving forward.
I guess some people might be, questioning like, well, how does it work?
Oh, that's a very good question. How does it work? One day I just did it and it worked. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say that just flat out. So these candles, they're actually, I can actually pull one over and bring it over.
Yeah, bring one over. Let's see them.
All right. Let me do the all-purpose one for you. And it's lit, which is perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an all-purpose candle. In other words, you see all the little icons on there: love, money, protection, jinx removing, etc. These candles, they burn for 7 days, and then they safeguard you and cleanse your energy for 7 days. For me, what I do to bless these candles, I imbue it with my energy and set the intention for you to feel whatever you need in that moment. And then it works right after it's lit, or it starts working, and you can see the progression for the 7 days.
Okay, amazing. So there's something popped into my mind that I want to ask you, because we've been having discussions yesterday about intuition and our gifts. So I guess, what has been your perception of, like, how did you understand that you were gifted, and when you came into your intuition, what was your experience?
Oh, that's a good question. So I knew I had gifts when I was really young. I think I was about 4 when I started just knowing things, and it started getting really, really overwhelming. My family, actually, all the women in my family, they have specific gifts. My mother knows when somebody is about to die. My sister is like a human empath. She can tell exactly where the pain is just by seeing you walk. And then she ended up becoming like the head of ER units in Afghanistan during the war, because she's military, and it became such an easy gift for her to pass on. My other sister, she could see people from the beyond, and she didn't really like that gift. But when I was younger, starting at 4, I started receiving gifts, all of my sister's gifts, not just one. It got to a point where my mother actually recently, she told me, like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to nurture it. You were really powerful when you were young, and it was scary to me. Around 8 years old, that's when it became really overwhelming. I was able to feel people and their pain and their suffering in one of those towns. And I don't know if you know Edison, New Jersey. It is a town where there's a lot of high performers and a lot of people with mental health struggles. So I could feel everyone's pain as I walked through my hometown in high school, and I was just fully drenched in it. It wasn't until I was 16 when I had my first Reiki healing where I felt free of that for the first time.
That's amazing. I really love the fact that you have the sister who's using the healing gift, but not being like a traditional healer like we do, and not being like the energy healer, just fully integrating it into their lives. Because there's so many people that feel like they have a spiritual gift that it has to look a particular way. So that's really amazing.
Yeah. I felt like we had to keep it hidden because people thought we were crazy.
Yep, there's that. And it really resonates what you said about your mom. My mom had a similar thing where, like, when I was starting to show my gifts, she'd be like, she'd get really quiet and kind of leave the room. You know, that energy of like, what do I do? She'd freeze and go away. But yeah, same thing of not knowing how to nurture. So, and luckily, what I really love is going on, like, just seeing like how more accepting people are of the gifts, so the next generation maybe doesn't have to go through some of the struggles that we went through.
Exactly. And I know nowadays everyone is going through their awakening and they're going through their tail end. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm getting intuitive hits. Where is this coming from? What? And it's because of the pandemic. And it really is time for all of us to be called to our missions.
Mm-hmm. It really is. The pandemic forced all of us, if we weren't empaths before, it caused all of us to really crack that open, because we're spending so much time inside being like, what's going on in the outside world? And we're subconsciously sending our energy out, trying to feel it. Is it safe? Can I leave? You know, all those different things.
Absolutely.
In the end, I would like to ask a question about that, but not right now.
Okay. We can. We'll put a note for that.
My loud, if not.
But also too, you also have a really, really deep spiritual practice. Do you want to talk about that with us today?
Sure, yes.
I know it's very important to you. So yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the foundation for everything that I do. I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, very similar to Tina Turner, Orlando Bloom, apparently. Yeah, it's a chant to help you transform your karma, and you could do it yourself. In the 13th century, a lay monk in Japan named Nichiren Daishonin, he found or how's the word, reemerged this practice of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo as a Buddhist. And then he created a mandala called the Gohonzon. You can reference more information about this at SGI, or you can even check out sgiusa.org. And there's an entire library of information that you can research. I'll drop it in the chat. I see people writing it down. Yeah, so I will chant anywhere, especially if it's been like a crazy day, crazy week. I'll chant anywhere from like 1 to 3 hours a day.
Amazing. So how long have you been doing this?
Almost 6 years now. So 5 years and 9 months. And I'll chant and consistently every day.
Mm-hmm.
As you're transforming your life internally and externally, all the right things come to you, and your mission and your clarity and everything just rises to the surface for you to take action.
Wonderful. So I'm just curious, what has been like the biggest transformation that you've experienced through chanting?
Ooh, all right, the recent one, we can talk about that. All right. So about 6 weeks ago, Marie and I we were talking about a recent breakup. This was a pattern that I was consistently having. And oh gosh, I didn't know what was wrong, but something was wrong, right? So I chanted vigorously, almost 3 hours a day, as much as I could, participated in karma changing activities. And finally, I broke up with this ex-boyfriend. Then I created this transformational program by going through it myself. This is about a 6-week program. The first thing I did was think, oh goodness, there's a lot of energy stored in me. I realized there's a lot of negative energy stored in me, resentment that had been building up for like decades. And I knew I needed to move it. So I spoke with a Reiki healer. Her name was Brandy. Brandy was amazing. And she discovered so many things on me within the first week. She found, this was after I chanted, by the way. So chanting, then feeling encouraged, then take action, right? So she found a cord from a abusive relationship still stuck to me and draining my energy from the back. Then she also found this parasitic entity on my stomach. I wasn't able to eat. I only had like maybe a meal a day. And I kid you not, for a year, I was feeling really weak. Additionally, throat chakra was blocked, so many different things. Then right afterwards, I was told that all of that residue was going to come to the surface to be healed. So right after that, I went to a brain spotting expert who's also an intuitive brain spotting expert. Yay. Yes, brain spotting is, I don't know if anyone has
interested, right?
Yeah, brain spotting is actually very intense. It can be really intense because you're facing your trauma head on. While I was chanting for the courage to do that. So I was able to do like 28 talk therapy sessions in 45 minutes and be able to clear out a sure amount. I don't know if I can curse here, of like negative stored energy. Then right afterwards, I went to Marie and we talked out things and found out more clarifying factors of what was happening. Found the best route to keep moving forward. By the way, I was chanting every day. Then I also lit my own candles. So another thing that was really, really being thrown at me, I am an influencer. I do have 54,000 followers. That also increases the chances of people being jealous and sending evil eye and black magic my direction without me seeing it. She was able to clear all these cords, through the candles, I was able to clear and protect my energy as I was going through my healing process and bring in money because I needed it. From there, I kept getting shinier and stronger, gratefully, thankfully. Thank you so much to this practice and everything that I've been doing. And I brought in another, like another Reiki session. And then I went home and chanted with with my mom, for family harmony. And I felt everything start smoothing out, because when you chant with others, it actually brings in this other energy of revitalization.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
So I do want to come back to one thing that you said that really I think all healers need to hear, all people going through healing process, which is that the chanting like didn't just make everything perfect, that it just made that it brought things to the surface to be healed. Because I know sometimes when people start a healing process and then things seem to fall apart, they take it as a sign that something's wrong, as opposed to the fact that like you maybe were not aware that this needed healed.
Yes, actually, those tower moments. I love that you said that, Marie. So during your healing process, things are gonna go awry. Like if you are taking the chance to heal and you have the courage to heal, things are gonna go crazy. Those tower moments are real. But when you're like clear and through and finished your tower moment, you learned the lesson, you are grateful for what happened, and you keep moving forward with no attachments, you will be amazingly stronger as you keep moving forward in your life.
Absolutely. And have you also had the experience where you finally remove that one big thing that's been huge in your life, and then afterwards, like 80 more things come up to be healed because you had so much attention on the big thing, you didn't notice the other things?
All the time.
Okay.
I think it's so whenever you go through a big shift in your life, a large shift, and you go through these obstacles, it is actually something to be grateful for, because you are doing the work, and because if the things aren't always going, like, don't get me wrong, things shouldn't always go wrong. Like, you should have a break, you should be able to appreciate the moment and enjoy your life. But if the obstacles are arising, that means you're doing something right, because it's coming up in your environment to be cleared and healed by you. And that's the most empowering feeling you can ever feel.
And
Absolutely.
how are you chanting? Like you walking and chanting, you walking and chanting, or you just sat down and chanting?
We're gonna do a mini exercise. That's gonna be our thing. Towards the end of me speaking with Marie, we're gonna try it all together.
So are you ready to go into that? Because I'm going to stop and start the recording. So are you ready to take the reins and lead us through an experience?
Sure. Okay, sounds good. Is Nicole still here?
Which Nicole? Both Nicoles?
Oh, okay.
No,
The Nicole.
we've lost both Nicoles. We've had two today, so.
Okay. Well, funny enough, Nicole like had the perfect segue for what I'm about to share, so it's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
There we go. Let's